Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for She-Ra and the Princesses of Power Season 4. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned. Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week, 4 seasons in, it's still the gayest thing ever. Did you think that was going to change? No, come on. We know what it's about now. Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. My name is Scott James Mirabal, and this is the show where I talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and I'm joined each week by a very special different guest. Since this is the 4th time we're talking about She-Ra, it makes sense to bring back the person we've had for the other 3 times. Give it up, Capers, for Alex Mirabal!
Yay! Hi!
Hi, Alex, how you doing?
Pretty good, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm recovering after our ordeal in the Highlands in that castle.
Yeah. I still would like, I would like the money that I was promised.
Alex, the guy was a con. There was never actually. Never mind. Moving on. Moving on, as I said. You know what's something that's helped me get over our ordeal this Halloween? A little bit of She-Ra. Not just a little bit of She-Ra, though. Full 13 episodes.
A full season. What? Can we just call this season 3? Because I don't like that season 2 and 3 were just split in half.
Yeah, they were just 6 episodes each. So not even
and
13,
they felt like
12.
one season.
It did very much feel like one season.
One season.
Yeah. But thankfully, we got a full...
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
Clearly, a lot of people talked about that and weren't happy about that, which is why good people over at DreamWorks, Noel Stevenson?
Yeah, Stevenson.
For a second there, my mind blanked. It was just like, is that right? My mind was like, yeah, it is. It's like, yeah, but you've let me down before, brain. So, like, I don't trust you. Oh, God, Michael Caine hasn't stopped sending me emails. Angry emails. Moving on. So clearly they listened to that, and now we've got a full season. And it feels like a full season. It feels like a complete story. It's taking the story very much forward. There's a lot of forward momentum in this season. Oh,
yeah. It, goes. There's a few filler episodes, but those episodes are, they're important.
Oh, yeah. Important for characters, important for developing the characters and the relationships, and we're going to talk about all of that after we talk about the news. So, there's lots of news we could talk about. We could talk about all the movie news that's come out recently, all the trailers dropped. I mean, for God's sake, we talked about trailers last week. There's a trailer, I don't know if you saw this, for a movie based on the television show Fantasy Island.
I've never heard of either property associated with that.
Oh my God. Right, so I never watched the show because it was way before my time, but it's very much ingrained in pop culture. It's Ricardo Montalban. Khan himself is like the eccentric owner of this island where he makes rich white people's fantasies come true, which sounds fucking horrendous, but it was meant to be like a nice, fun TV show. It had the little person from whose name I really should remember because he's
Warwick Davis.
No. There are other little people, Alex.
Okay, before the 2000s, not according to Hollywood.
No,
there was only Warwick Davis and no one else.
No, there was this guy who was in The Man with the Golden Gun, and it was recently portrayed by Peter Dinklage in a movie opposite 50 Shades of Who Gives a Crap. Jamie Dornan.
Right.
You're Googling, aren't you? You're Googling like mad now.
No, I have zero idea who you're talking about.
Point is, Fantasy Island was a nice, fun TV show similar to like The Love Boat.
Westworld. Oh, okay.
No, not like Westworld. Nothing like Westworld.
Well, no, I'm going to go on a limb and say that, someone is trying to make it like Westworld.
Oh.
Trying to success and say, we can do that too. There's another series that was kind of similar in concept that we can do that too.
Well, it's a movie now. It's a movie called Fantasy Island, but now they've taken the concept and turned it into like a horror movie, which
sounds about right.
I don't think there's any diehard Ricardo Montalban Fantasy Island fans who are going to be up in arms about this, but at the same time, like, it's so divorced from the original premise, but it's also so kind of cool and creative and twisted. I kind of admire them for that. But that's not what I want to talk about. We got way too sidetracked. What I want to talk about is the imminent arrival and immediate fucking up of Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. I have heard that there was some problems, but I am not paying for. I have zero desire. There is nothing on that platform that appeals to me.
There is
literally nothing.
there's a couple of things coming up that I'm interested in, but there's only one thing that currently I'm interested in, which I have watched by other means, secret means, illegal means. It'll never get to court.
Yeah, I've heard The Mandalorian is pretty good.
You guessed exactly right. I didn't even say you knew. I've seen 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, which Jon Favreau is overseeing but has not been able to direct because he was busy with something far more worthy of his time, the live-action Lion King movie. Fuck! That is the shit that keeps on shitting. It is the diarrhea that keeps on repeating on you. You think you're safe. You think, okay, it's over now. I'm fine. I can go to bed. Oh, wait, nope. The nightmare continues afresh. And
not even Elton John liked that movie.
Oh, and it's... Yeah, because it's a piece of shit. We talked about that enough. It's got its own episode. Watch that, Capers. Instead of letting me talk about it here.
Right.
But unfortunately, Jon Favreau was not able to direct, but Dave Filoni, or how you say his name, was. And dear God, The Mandalorian is such a cool show. The episodes are shorter than I thought they would be. I thought they'd be like 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Our last one was only like 30 odd minutes, but it's just really, really cool. It very much feels like a classic spaghetti space western. That's
cool.
It's very, very cool. Pedro Pascal does a great job as the eponymous Mandalorian.
Apologies for that.
There's lots of
Baby
cute critters in
here
it,
making...
like that cat that just meowed.
Yeah. A real cat. She sounds like a person saying meow.
Meow! Feed me, human! Feed me! I desire your attention!
She has had a full bowl since like yesterday, and she refuses to eat. And it's been driving me crazy. She gets bored of eating.
Oh my God, I'm so over the wet food. God. God.
She doesn't even like wet food. We just give her hard food, and she doesn't like that either, apparently.
What is this filth? You feed me, human! Anyway.
Biting me.
Oh, she's biting you.
Okay. Yeah, no, when she gets really hyper, she decides that it's biting time.
Oh, God. I mean...
I'm gonna put you in the bathroom if you don't stop it. Anyway.
But The Mandalorian, I mean, dear God, it's so great. Pedro Pascal is great. Werner Herzog is in it. Like, that's bizarre to me, but he's in it.
Pedro Pascal was my favorite part of Rogue One, and I didn't like Felicity. I thought he should have been the main character and not Felicity Jones. I'm
sorry. Oh my God, Alex, you're so problematic today. That was not Pedro Pascal. That was Gabriel Luna.
Gabriel Luna. Oh yeah. Pedro Pascal was. Yeah, okay, no, yeah. Being problematic against my own people.
Was it Gabriel Luna? I'm pretty sure it was.
Someone. Now we're let's go through all the Latinos in Hollywood. Well, he's supposed to be Mandalorian, right? Or is he in something else? No, he's supposed to be something else. Because Mandalorian takes place before.
No, I was close. It's Diego Luna who was in.
Diego Luna.
Sorry, not Gabriel Luna. Is that even a person? I don't know.
Oh.
But was in Rogue One. Pedro Pascal, formerly of Game of Thrones and Kingsman 2. And also that one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and people mainly know him from.
Oh, and he's going to be in Wonder Woman. He's going to be in Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well.
Yep, he's playing Supergirl's version of Lex Luthor, which his name is like Max Power or something like that.
Oh, you mean I know Maximilian Lord.
Yeah, Max Lord. Yeah, he's. And he's a major player, I think, in the Supergirl TV show. In the first season when I watched it, he was really important. And I was like, all right, so this is this show's Lex Luthor. But then they have Lena Luthor in season 2, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have her and not Max Lord, yeah, they're gonna go for that. But yeah, so Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian. He's great. Carl Weathers is in it. He's great. Nick Nolte is in it. He's great. That's bizarre to me. And Taika Waititi is also in it, and he's fucking amazing.
Oh, I love Taika Waititi.
Who doesn't? He's absolutely
I know, he's
adorable.
good.
He's great in everything he does, and I love him. Oh, he's going to make a movie with Ryan Reynolds again, and I can't just wait. So,
good.
But yeah, Disney Plus just completely goes arse over tit at its opening, and which I love because
was there technical issues, or was it just like the Simpsons thing? Because I heard that the Simpsons was like cropped. And it was cropped in a really weird way.
It was the technical thing. It was the Simpsons. It was the fact that they changed Star Wars again. Like, apparently Han shoots first again in this, despite all of George Lucas's...
Wait, do they is it the George Lucas version, or is it a new version where Han shoots first?
Well, there's multiple... Okay. So, there's the theatrical version. There's the 90s...
Yeah.
There's the 90s special edition version, which is the version I watched when I was a kid, because I had that on VHS. Then there was an update, and that was when they first changed it so that Han didn't shoot first. Then I think there was another DVD release where he added some things in, a Blu-ray release where he changed some more things, and so now I think they've got just like the latest Blu-ray version, but put back in the scene where Han shot first. So, and I absolutely... It's a pet peeve of mine, but I hate multiple versions of the same film. You can have a theatrical cut and a director's cut or extended cut or whatever, and that's it. You can have two. You can have two, and that's your lot. That's one of the reasons why I can't watch Blade Runner anymore, because there's
too many recuts of it. Yeah,
there's too many.
It's like right.
So yeah, that's
the definitive edition.
That's a problem. There's a problem with The Simpsons being cropped. So and it's not a great start for the streaming service that Disney is desperately trying to make be a competitor for Netflix.
Right. I don't know how they messed this up. They have the Hulu technology. Did they not figure out how to use it first?
No, because they were in a rush. They were in a desperate rush to get their own stuff out there. This is why we don't have Daredevil and Jessica Jones anymore. Like, they just played it out with Netflix. They do whatever they want. That's why I think that's part of the reason, at least, why people lost interest in those shows. And that's why they're not canon anymore. I don't even know. And so now it's the latest in a long line of moves by Disney to control all the media human beings consume. I am not joking. That's their end goal. They are going to build a monopoly, and we have to stop them. They must be stopped. However, Netflix, in response to this, Netflix in response to this has released. He's going season 4 of She-Ra. We've got The Witcher coming up. Bunch of stuff. Let's just hope they stop cancelling shows that people like, and Netflix will be fine. I'm looking at you one day at a time. Like,
I will warn, because I did see on Twitter, Netflix, when they originally ordered She-Ra, only ordered 52 episodes, so there's only one more set of 13 episodes now.
God.
If this season gets reviews, hopefully there's a season 5, but for right now there's only a season 4.
Well, this season so far has gotten good reviews, so I think we'll be fine.
I hope so, because they need it.
If we just get one more season and it wraps up everything with a 13 episode season, I would be satisfied with that. I'd like more, but I can deal with that. You know, if it ended before this season or at the end of this season, and trust me, we're going to get to the end of this season, so then I would be upset. But if one more season is all we get, I could be okay with that. I just like more, because this show just goes from strength to strength. And on that note, I think we should probably start talking about it. So, we begin where season 3 left off with a big whole portal trying to pull them out of Despondos, where Etheria is currently stuck. It went shit. Alternate reality. Catra went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Queen Angela sacrificed herself. King Micah was revealed to potentially be alive. And turns out that Hordak isn't...
Adora finally stood up for herself.
Hordak isn't the big bad. It turns out Horde Prime is the big bad. He's got like a space armada. Oh noes. And season 4 picks up where that left off with an episode fittingly titled The Coronation. Because with Angela dead, Glimmer is now the new Queen of Bright Moon, and she's got a brand spanking new hairstyle to go with it.
That new outfit and that new hairstyle, like, I like it way more than her old style.
I mean, I like her old style fine, but this new one, I mean, it's different because it had to be different because her situation has changed. She can't just go around in her old stuff, and it works well for her character in this season, who has the weight of the world on her.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not helped by the fact that everyone around her is just trying to make everything fine. It's just like, yay, coronation, we'll take care of everything. And you can tell immediately, like, okay, people are getting on her nerves now.
I love Frosta's reaction is just like, leave Glimmer alone. She's so upset. She's like screaming at the top of her lungs.
Oh god, Frosta's awesome. She's oh god. I will not. I can't. We've got so much to talk about. I can't spend the whole thing just lavishing praise on every single character, even though every single character is good. To varying degrees, but still.
Except for Swiftwind, who was in a lot of this season, and I want to die.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I did. Okay, I did not find Swiftwind annoying this season. However, he came dangerously close to being annoying. He nearly reached my threshold.
It's not like his character is bad, it's the voice acting. I cannot stand just this like normal ass guy voice. Like he just is like a normal guy. He sounds like a dude that would be on SNL. Like a magical horse.
Hi, I'm a magical horse. I have a head of magical mane colors and a horn and wings, and I'd like a chair. Just like, would you think that was a... yeah, it's that. And I don't know, I don't think the voice actor is bad per se. Like, I buy his acting, I just don't think the voice necessarily fits. But maybe that's part of the joke, because as we discussed in previous episodes about this, the original voice of Swiftwind was like a guy who smoked way too many cigarettes, like, oh my god, Adora, we gotta go and save the magical bunnies of the forest from the evil, nasty things. So, I don't know, maybe it's a joke on that, but if so, the joke has worn thin, I think.
Oh yeah, like it would have been funny if it was like one episode where Swiftwind talking just had a normal dude voice. But the fact that he just keeps coming back and he keeps talking, and there's some episodes that Swiftwind's in where he doesn't talk, and I love those episodes.
Oh god, it's a real genuine hatred for Swiftwind. Oh jeez. And so because she's getting coronated, Glimmer has to go on a big ceremony to go on basically a quest to establish a connection with the Moonstone. And can I just say, in today's society, speaking as a guy who lives in a monarchy, there are very few calls for the monarchy to go on quests in order to be recognized as sovereign. Like, that is not a thing that happens.
Maybe in the Middle Ages.
Not even in the Middle Ages.
Dragon, or I guess fantasy times.
Believe it or not, Game of Thrones lied to you, Alex, and that's not what Britain was like in ye olden times.
It's the only interesting part of Britain, and it's not even real.
Excuse me? I think you'll find that our history, which stretches back thousands of years, is complex and interesting and intriguing. I mean, do you even know what went down with the Jacobite Rebellion? No, you don't, because you were educated in America and you've got like a couple of 100 years to you, and it's all shit. It's just white people fucking things up.
You know, on average, every 4 days, a country is celebrating their independence from the UK.
That's just maybe, but still, I think we should move on. Moving on. So they go on this quest, and they have they have a bit of a tiff as they're going along the quest, and it's the first of many tiffs. The best friend squad gets really tested this season, and that
it is exactly how I predicted.
Yeah. And it
is 100% I predicted Bo not being able to, like, he's stuck between both of them pretty much this entire season.
Yeah, and it gets kind of annoying. Like, you understand where both of them are coming from, but all they do is just shout and gripe at each other. And no one makes even an attempt to see things from, like, compromise. And, like, I know there's, like, younger characters. They're not, like, well, they are adults, but they're not, like, they're young adults. And they've got enormous amount of pressure on them. I want a clear
age, please. I want Noelle to just be like, these are their ages. Because it is, like, driving me up a wall that I don't know. Like, Frost is the only person we've got, like, confirmation of how old she is. And she doesn't seem, like, that much younger than Glimmer.
You just don't want to feel bad when you write your fanfics.
Well, I absolutely. I see a lot of content online that's, like, incredibly sexualized. And I'm like...
Oh.
Want to go. I know these characters are adults, and we have zero confirmation of that. In fact, we have more evidence to the contrary. Like, especially even this season, there's a character that calls Bo and Adora children. Like,
it's well, I was not aware of that. I was just making a joke, and now I'm uncomfortable. Oh god, yeah, Noelle, get on that. Moving on. Okay, so then they're attacked by a giant slug, because that's the world they live in. That happens, you know. It's giant slug. Must be Thursday. And Glimmer embraces her powers, completely gets supercharged. Remember before how her powers were like, because she was sharing them with her mother? Now it's just her. She's got like super zappy powers, super teleporter powers. She's all over this shit. And they, you know, all reconcile now that she's queen. She's officially queen. I wonder how long this peace would last. Meanwhile, back in the Fright Zone, things are not going well for Scorpia. Oh, Scorpia. Poor sweet baby Scorpia. Because, like, recap of the last season, Entrapta tried to stop Catra from activating the portal, which she knew would blow up. And Catra was just like, no, I'm going crazy, zap! And told Scorpia to send it to Beast Island, the mysterious Beast Island. And Scorpia was like, we shouldn't do this. And Catra's like, do it or I scratch you. And so now, starts, like, with Scorpia and Catra's relationship has always been talked about in previous seasons and in the cast. This is, I think, the first season where Scorpia really gets some self-introspection purely for her and her character.
Her and Emily.
Oh yes, because Entrapta left behind a bot, Emily.
And Emily.
And
Entrapta's robot.
And Scorpia has to really decide, as much as he likes Catra, much as they're friends, and possibly something more, is actually, are they that good friends? You know, is Catra as good a friend to her as she is to Catra? And it's beginning of a long journey for Scorpia. Meanwhile, Catra was all like, "Hey, Hordak, let's just let's go out and take the rebellion. Let's crush them." And Horda's like, "No, Entrapta like damaged me, and I'm not feeling great about all of this." And Catra's like, "Oh, really? Okay. Oh, great. That's okay. Hey, nice crystal you got on your power armor." "Oh, yes, it is. Thank you." Yoink! Oh no! And Catra full on takes down Hordak.
So, like, Hordak's nothing, right? This season, like, proved to me that, like, Hordak was never a villain that we should have been afraid of, which kind of bums. Usually of like,
all
yes,
of that
this
cut
guy
out,
was
all
scary,
of that cut out, all
but
of that
you know,
cut
Horde
out, all
Prime
of
is
that cut
coming.
out, all of that
Okay.
cut out.
um, this season really solidified for me that Hordak was just nothing the entire time, because like usually there's a big scary bad guy, and then oh shit, but there's even a bigger and scarier bad guy. Hordak was never a big scary bad guy. He just locked himself away and made him seem like the big scary bad guy. So we just like we have no that like dangerous. Let's be beat by Katra like 15 times this season.
True, but
like, okay,
I don't think Hordak was meant to be the big scary character. This is not a show for big scary characters, except for the potential of Horde Prime. This was a show about characters, interesting characters, and Hordak may not be the big scary bad guy, but he is the very interesting character.
He was. I don't like. That's the thing, though. I don't think he is, because in season 1, that like he's supposed to be this big, you know, he is the big bad for this planet right now, and then they suddenly, you know, went left turn and decided, well, maybe not, maybe he's like interested in Entrapta, and it wasn't earned at all. It just was like, okay, now we get to spend a little bit more time in his room and he's not as scary as we think he is, but then that just diminished the whole thing of the Fright Zone and the Horde, and it's like it's not scary. It doesn't seem like a threat at all,
but
and it needs to be a threat.
Does.
Katra in charge of the Horde has done things way far and beyond Hordak. Hordak's like piddly shit compared to Katra in charge of the Horde.
Well, yeah, I think you know what it is. It's a Emperor and Darth Vader scenario. The Emperor's in charge, but you don't find him that scary despite all his, you know, powers. It's Darth Vader's the one you find scary. I think it's that sort of thing. And so
I don't though, because the Emperor still like has this like guise of like, I'm the like, yeah, Darth Vader is one thing, but I'm the silent uber bad behind him, whereas like. And he like supports Darth Vader and his like he doesn't. Hordak and Katra hate each other, like they hate each other, and Hordak doesn't want to live because he doesn't have any. He's not actually a big scary bad guy. He's just a dude who's kind of wimpy, and it's like, how did he last this long in the first place? Like, how did he last beat by one of his force captains? How could he have lasted this long?
I don't know.
Was it because of Shadow Weaver?
Possibly. I think it's because he used a lot of people around him. Maybe that was his true strength. I don't know. I don't find him the kind of interesting character. But nevertheless, it starts... because Katra attacks him and overpowers him, it's an interesting change in the power dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. It's a cat. Even though Hordak is like the name behind it, and she still is kind of scared of disappointing him, for the most part, Katra's in charge.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot. Power dynamics are expressed and sort of discussed a lot in this season. So, for example, Glimmer now doesn't really go out on missions that much.
She has a new outfit this season.
What? Oh, yeah, Katra.
She has a new outfit this season.
It looks
Katra.
Basically the same.
It's the same, but it has like a cool arm thing now.
Oh, wow. Well, yes.
She got that cool black band around her arm.
I do not care. It's asymmetrical. God. Anyway, so Glimmer now, because she's queen, has to spend more time back at Bright Moon and sends Adora and Bo out to do missions more, which she does not like very much. And one mission in the second episode, one mission she takes them on is Adora, Bo, Huntara, and Perfumer to the Crimson Waste to retrieve Mara's spaceship. Only problem is the Horde are already there, salvaging it, and things aren't going great for the Crimson Waste. And Huntara is very unhappy about that, and so at the end of the episode, she stays behind to make sure to take the Crimson Waste back from the Horde, because they could only afford Gina Davis for 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
But they do
glad
that
she's
a lot.
there.
I mean,
I'm
like,
glad she's there, and I'm glad they just don't like put her in the background for the rest of the episodes.
right. I
But
mean,
yeah,
Casaspella is only in like one
one.
episode a season. Like,
Sandra O's got like a serial
they don't
killer
get
to
Sandra
catch,
Oh all the
so
time.
yeah.
Yeah, she's busy.
But I like how they brought Perfumer along because Perfumer is like her whole thing is that she can control plants, right? Except for cacti. She really struggles with cacti, and that's hilarious.
She hates cacti.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. This season they do flesh out the other princesses a little bit more, which I appreciate. Like they're like Perfuma and Mermista. I mean, maybe Frosta to like a lesser extent, but I feel like Mermista and Perfumer both have like actual character arcs this season.
Perfumer was always the one that got the least amount of development in previous seasons, so it's good to
Right.
see her front and center again and just remind her that she's there. And
Yeah, and see her relationship with Bo, because like she brought Bo to Princess. Were close before then, and this episode you can see them actually being really close.
yeah, and oh, you still there? Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and while that's going on, we meet a new character working for the Horde, Double
The
Trouble.
best character. The best character.
Oh my fucking lordy loo. So, Double Trouble, how can we describe... They are like a...
There.
They are like a chameleon-esque character who is all about the art of acting. And she's... I keep on saying... Damn it, I'm so confused, and I love it.
There's a lot of she's in the show, but the actor is non-binary.
Yeah. Okay. So the voice actor for Double Trouble is Jacob Tobiah. I don't know how to say that. Who is a genderqueer actor and LGBTQIA plus rights activist, and they use the they pronouns, and they do such a great job as Double Trouble.
Oh yeah. They also referred to Double Trouble as a princess in their announcement, and I was like, and then I wasn't. Double Trouble is not a princess.
They're not a princess, they're a queen, darling.
Oh, I love Double Trouble. I love them so much, and I think it's weird that their name is Double. Maybe that's how they justify the they them pronoun, which I think is a dumb justification, but whatever.
I don't know. I assumed that Double Trouble was a holdover from the original series in the 80s, back when you could call
Right.
a
It seems like
Trouble.
Double Trouble would be there maybe was two characters, but why don't you just change the name? There's only one person.
But Double Trouble has the ability to basically transform themselves to look like anyone. Side shape, they've got mystique powers.
Sound.
And sound. And they use their acting abilities to truly inhabit the role, and that's what sells the deception. And what I love about them is their confidence.
Oh yeah.
And not just
they're like 100%.
They just go for it. Like any role they inhabit, any person they're talking to, there's no trace of fear, apprehension, nervousness. It's like they're in complete control of every situation they're in because they think they know better, and in fairness, they probably do.
Yeah, and like they flirt with everyone too. Like they flirt with Catra the entire season.
They call Catra kitten.
And they like when they first when before we even know who they are, like part of their character introduction is that they pretend to be Scorpia.
Oh
and
God,
flirt
yes.
with Catra openly, and Catra's like, "Hey, what the fuck? You're not usually this confident or open. What's going on?" She's like, "Oh no, was I cloned? I signed a lot of paperwork."
There's so many funny lines in the show. A lot of it centered around Double Trouble, and it's so great that they pop up multiple times throughout the season. It's not like a one-note character, boom, and then they're gone. They're active in the plot because, see, episode 3, Adora and Bo are at a party at this village they recently liberated because you know what? fucking let's party. You know what? We defeated the Horde. Let's have a blowout. And they meet this young fairy-esque girl named Flutterina. Okay, yeah, sure, that's her name. Actually, you know what? This is a world where Double Trouble, Adora, and an archer named Bo exist, so, you know, there are no rules. Who's, like, a huge She-Ra fangirl, and...
Oh, yeah, and this cute child. I mean, the whole time, like, this whole episode, I was like, this would be a perfect opportunity while off the distraction robot, like Double Trouble can come in pretending to be She-Ra and like mess up this entire like her reputation. I was like, why don't they take this opportunity to mess up Adora's reputation? And they go a different direction with Double Trouble, and I was like, oh, that's a lot smarter. It's like the long con.
Because Double Trouble is Flutterina, and suddenly after village gets recaptured and She-Ra and Bo rescue them along with Flutterina, they bring Flutterina into the rebellion. I don't know why. She's a little kid with no previous combat experience. Like, why would you... They accept her way too quick.
Because she's really cute.
Oh,
they
God.
do. She's like, they allow this actual child with no marketable skills to join the rebellion.
So cuteness is the only prerequisite to join this rebel army?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Why do you think Bo's there?
That is a very good point. It's not because of his taster shirt. But yeah, so it turns out Flutterina is actually Double Trouble, and now suddenly there's a mole in the Resistance. Oh God. And at this point, the rebellion was going quite well. This is the point where the tide starts to turn in favor of the Fright Zone, the Horde, because Double Trouble now reports back on all of their goings-on, all of their activity, which leads to a lot of infighting, a lot of problems. They think that they're able to track She-Ra through her sword technology somehow. There's a lot of stuff going on.
And Glitter starts using her as a decoy, even though she doesn't know that it's not going to work. Like, she starts sending She-Ra somewhere while they fight somewhere else, and it doesn't
She-Ra
work.
does not like that.
No. Adora's not happy about that.
It doesn't help that a lot of people are getting hurt by the fact that they keep on getting ambushed, including returning Netossa and Spinnerella.
There's a little bit more of Netossa and Spinnerella.
Yeah, and I forgot
who
which
are
one
fighting the entire time they're on screen.
I know, because they're a couple, and they've got this competitive thing going on, and it's just like... And they mentioned they had a game night, and the game night did not go well because Netossa is so competitive.
They don't have game night anymore because Netossa's too competitive.
Oh, God, I love it.
And I think they get married. There's a hint that they get married in, like, the next episode when they're, like, teleported in. I think they're both in like dresses, and Netossa has a bouquet of flowers.
I missed that, and if that was the point where they got married, like, don't skip over that. Don't do that. Just have it.
Oh, right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, maybe they were just like having a date night or something.
Maybe.
But it was very like fancy.
Maybe they just like to get dressed up. You know, they've been together for a while, but they still make the effort, and that's why it works. That's why they work.
Yeah.
And also, I love the fact that Spinnerella is voiced by Noelle Stevenson.
Is she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Netossa is voiced by Crystal Joy Brown, and Noelle Stevenson is Spinnerella.
That's good. So they could have them more often, but they don't.
Yeah, because it's not about her, you know. Also, side thing, on Noelle Stevenson, I recently got a chance to read Nimona for the first time.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah.
Have you not read that?
No.
It's very good. I'm glad they're making a movie about it. It's very good. Anyway, so that's happened. And Glimmer, meanwhile, is getting really frustrated that she's been held back because she's queen. So she turns to the one person you should turns to the one person you should never turn to for advice, Shadow Weaver, who is a prisoner in Bright Moon, but just spends her time, like, gardening. Just, like, 90% of her time is just gardening. It is, and not even, like, evil gardening, just, like, ingredients for nice tea.
Except for the skull plants.
But even there's the skull plants, but she doesn't do anything evil with the skull plants, and she openly says, mind the skull plants. So, yeah, but so she, Glimmer...
Yeah, at some point, Glimmer's like, oh, so these are... And then Shadow Weaver's like, those are daisies, they make me happy, or something like that.
Oh, God, I love it. And I love the fact that they're willing to give funny lines to these serious villains, but they're funny lines that make sense. They're not just like funny lines for the sake of funny lines like Marvel occasionally does. So, Glimmer...
Occasionally.
A lot of the funny jokes make sense. Sometimes I just take it a step too far. I'm not blind, okay? Moving on. So Glimmer goes to Shadow Weaver for advice with all the magic. We're moving on, Alex. No, I have rants. You don't get that privilege. And Shadow Weaver tries to basically help her with that, but for good or for evil, we don't know. And Glimmer teleports to Catra's secret base in the Whispering Woods and basically takes her to school with all of her magic. And Adora is not happy about that. Like, hey, you can't just go rushing off because you're the queen now and that's kind of important. And it causes some even more friction. Oh, God. Then we get
the sequence of events. Like, there's some episodes that feel a little bit out of place. Is this after the Razz episode or before the Razz episode?
This is before the Razz episode.
Okay. I like that episode.
That's episode 9.
Is it? Oh my gosh. There's some of the filler episodes can be a lot.
Yeah, so I think you may be confusing that with
Well,
I think you may be confusing that with episode 5, Protocol, which is the next episode after that, where Adora tries to get even more answers from Light Hope, who is the most unhelpful.
Oh yeah.
Most unhelpful hologram since
Rimmer.
Rimmer.
Like, switched around.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Light Hope is. I mean, even Adora says that she's worthless.
Yes, but this episode turns. She goes to Light Hope, but suddenly there's a dangerous acid spore storm outside, so she can't leave. It becomes a bit of a dual bottle episode between Adora in Light Hope's Sanctum Sanctorum. I don't know what you call it. Fortress of Solitude.
I think it's the Crystal Palace, I think she calls it.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. There's a place in the UK called Crystal Palace.
I know.
So
yeah.
It's weird for me to say that, because I don't want some of our UK audience to get confused, like, really? There's a person called Light Hope where? Oh, okay, fine. And, but also, in addition to that, the side characters of the Horde, Kyle, Lonnie, and Rogelio, are also in the Whispering Wood in, like, a transport vehicle, just transporting some materials, like some armor plating, and they get stuck outside in the deadly spore storm, which if it touches you, it burns you. And it burns metal as well, and it disables their vehicle. And Catra's like, hey, why aren't you guys here yet, you assholes? And they were like, yeah, our car is like slowly being melted. It may take us a little while, but if we just wait out the storm, you can't wait out the storm that's going to melt your skin off your flesh. Go out there into the skill-melting flesh storm and fix it, you bastards! And I mean, she needs to go to some sort of like management training course. Catra does, just like, because that's not how you talk to people.
Catra has no idea about morale.
None at all. And so we get a lot of time between Adora and Light Hope, talking about Mara and all the stuff that's going on like in the past. But also we get a lot of development for Kyle, Lonnie, and Rogelio. Even though Rogelio does not speak English, he just growls.
One can understand him. He has this like big epic speech, and it's just all growls, and no one can understand him. Very funny.
I agree, Rahelia. Well said. Like, that's how it goes.
Yeah, it's like there's like a big swell in the music, and like Lonnie and Kyle are just kind of looking at each other because they have no.
It's so funny, but there is genuine development for them. Talking about the frustrations being the Horde now that Catra's basically running it, and oh god, Lonnie in particular does not brook fools easily. Like she is not happy, and Carl is just sweet baby Carl the whole way through. And he sacrifices himself to save his friends. Oh. Okay, and also, in addition to that, Adora witnesses a memory of Mara interacting with Lighthope, and it seems like things are going quite well, and this is because Lighthope is malfunctioning and has reverted to like her default standards, so she's like actually kind of helpful now and really nice, but not entirely helpful because her program hasn't finished loading. So Adora's got to basically reboot the whole temple. It's a whole thing. She's a memory of Mara giving flowers to Lighthope, but she's like, "Aw, they really liked each other once."
Mara seemed like they were. It did. They were together.
All of that cut out.
Like,
all of that cut out.
Which I guess is like. It seemed like they Lighthope and Mara kind of seemed like they were together. Like it wasn't it didn't seem like a like just a friendship situation. I was like, especially like on Lighthope's end, maybe just because she didn't like have any friends ever, but like it felt a little bit more romantic than just
save it for your fanfic. But here's the you say that because here's the thing. After the storm ends, Kyle, Lonnie, Rogelio manage to escape, and Adora manages to leave. Lighthope reviews the memory of Mara, just giving her flowers, just like, that's so sweet. This should have been deleted. Delete. Bum bum bum. Something's going on with Lighthope and Mara. Initially, in previous seasons, she said that Mara went crazy Eddie in the heady, and that's why things are the way they are. But then, later on, She-Ra finds another recording of Mara that's where she seems to be much more in control of her faculties than Lighthope talked about. So, who do we really believe? It might be that Lighthope is not the nicest hologram in the world. Who knows? Next episode, however, which is titled Princess Scorpia, Horda basically requires Entraptor's notes, and he is not over Entraptor, his perceived betrayal of Entraptor based on Catra's lies. But he needs her notes, and Catra's just like, no, I can't be bothered to find them. Scorpia, you find them, even though we send her to Beast Island. Meh. And it turns out the recordings are inside Emily, Entraptor's robot, and Scorpia does not want to destroy Emily to get the recordings. But she knows that if she gives them to Catra and does what Catra asks her, Catra will definitely destroy her. And so she's torn between wanting to please Catra and wanting to take care of Emily. It seems like she may have gutted Emily to give a damaged recording chip to Catra. But we know it's Scorpia. We know she would never do that, and that's exactly what she did not do. She didn't destroy Emily. And Catra just, like, blows up at her, just like, you're an idiot, you can't do anything right. And Scorpia just coldly tells her, you're a bad friend. And that's a moment where she's like, she's moving on up, she's getting out, she's gonna make it after all. And she goes on and leaves Catra and the Horde behind. Oh god, and she basically says, I'm gonna go to Beast Island and get Entraptor back.
Growth, baby.
Oh god, Words can't express how much I love Scorpia. She's just, you know what she's a good, pure character who's on the side of evil, but she's not boring as a character. Beyond that, she's just,
and she makes it very clear that she's not here by choice. Her family told her to be there, and she was like, okay, I guess you guys know what's best for me. Like,
yeah, and she's such an interesting character. But meanwhile, what's going on in the rebellion side of things? Well, basically, the past few episodes, beyond what we talked about, there's just been a lot of bickering and infighting, and it's getting kind of frustrating for me, at least, watching. But it all comes to a head in the next episode, Mer-Mysteries. I
love this episode. This is like my princess prom this season.
This is the princess prom of this season. It's great because it's another sort of bottle episode. Basically, they just tried to retake Drill, and it went horribly wrong. And basically, everyone was just like, okay, there is clearly a spy here. We thought it might be they were tracking Adora, but it's apparently not that, because when they tried to retake Drill, Adora was nowhere near there, and it went horribly wrong anyway. So I personally think it may have gone horribly wrong because they included Seahawk in the planning, but that's just me. Oh, Seahawk, never change. And basically, this is Mer-Mister's time to shine, because she's always been kind of like a passive character, just like, oh, I don't really care. But now there's a mystery afoot. She's actively engaged in it because she really likes this book series called Mer-Mysteries, like the world's best nautical themed mystery book series, and she actively starts interrogating people, with Perfumer being like the good cop and her being the bad cop. And every time she strikes a dramatic pose and says something dramatic, lightning flashes outside. And when she's asked how did she do that, she just says, I have had practice! Crackle, thunder, boom.
Yeah, because I mean, she can control that. Storms or water. So it's like,
but
she can do that whenever she wants to.
It's so great. And do you know what I like about this? It is, I mean, we know, obviously, we the audience know what's going on. Flutterina, actually Double Trouble, is giving away all of their secrets. But it's so cool for them to show what happened in Drill in flashbacks from different people's perspectives. That's cool.
Yeah, and yeah.
The problem is, again, if you're going to do a whodunit, it's probably best not to make it obvious who did the whodunit. Like, Columbo got away with that because they showed them doing it from the get-go. But this isn't Columbo. It's sort of like trying to go like halfway. Like, you don't see who the spy is, but you know who the spy is. So I don't think it really works on that aspect. But in terms of humor and character development, it works really, really well.
I love, like, they're like, Mermista and Perfuma interview everyone, like, literally everyone, and it is so funny, their reactions. Like, Bo is just like, I think I'm the spy, but I don't know it. Please just arrest me.
Like, Seahawk bigs up his actions during the thing.
But not Swiftwind. I mean, Swiftwind's there. Oh, yeah, Seahawk is just like, I killed 200 men, and it's just like, that's not true. No. You did nothing. We failed. We lost.
That's right. I killed 250 men.
And Swiftwind's there for all of 4 seconds, and it's like he's just like standing on the table, I guess just to show off or something.
Down, boy. No horses on the furniture. And but eventually they Adora and Mer-Mister and Glimmer realize, okay, something's going on here, because there's accounts of multiple people being in multiple different places. And at first it's dismissed as like tech going wrong or something like that, but no, it's clear that something weird is going on. And so Glimmer drops a hint that after a communications device gets destroyed, that there's a backup communication device in a different room. Flutterina goes there to destroy it, gets caught in the act. Turns out the whole thing was an elaborate ruse to get her, and they reveal themselves as Double Trouble, and Double Trouble gets imprisoned at Bright Moon. And
yeah, but it wasn't in vain for them.
Well, for Double Trouble, it wasn't in vain. For them, it was, because it turns out this whole night, the whole thing with the whole like communication smashing was to distract the princesses whilst the Horde attacks Mer-Mystery's kingdom, which they do in fact take over. There's no last minute successful reclaiming of Mer-Mystery's kingdom. No, Mer-Mystery gets to watch as her kingdom gets evacuated and blown to shit.
Yeah, they like teleport there, and she just drops. Because we spent all of season 1 watching that wall go up and making sure that wall made sure the whole city was safe. Gone. The whole city is gone.
Yeah, and for such a funny episode, it ends on a real down note. It's really impactful. But it's followed by another funny episode, Boys' Night Out.
Very good. There was a little bit of like cognitive dissonance with like Mer-Mystery in this episode. Is like she doesn't feel like a ruler until the very end of it. Like she very much is like, well, all is lost. I guess I'm just gonna go sit in the bathroom and wallow in all my problems. It's like, that's not. Cream. You're the princess. Like, right? It's like it doesn't feel like it feels like she broke up with Seahawk. It doesn't feel like she lost her entire kingdom.
Is that confirmed that she's with Seahawk? I know he thinks that, but does she think that?
Right. I think they are together. She just doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Like she's embarrassed by him.
Yeah. It's very much a Melania Trump type situation going on. Yeah. But Boys' Night Out, basically, while she's wallowing, Catra discovers that Scorpia's left her in the hole behind and is not happy because, like, the previous episode, she was just like, "Hey, Scorpia, call me back when you get this. Hey, Scorpia, how you doing? Just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Hey, Scorpia, 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 hello, Scorpia. Why would you answer me, Scorpia?" Oh my god, she does care after all. But it's another betrayal. It's another person leaving her. Adora, Shadow Weaver, and now Scorpia. And once again, we see...
And Swiftwind's not calling her back either. Or not Swiftwind. Double Trouble's not calling her back either.
Imagine if Swiftwind was the traitor after all. Dear God, what a plot twist that would be.
That would make my life. that would be like my own like Sith Lord Jar Jar Binks.
It turns out I'm an evil unicorn-winged Pezicus thing. But no, and then we get to see the beginning of the return of Crazy Catra, who I love and am equally afraid of. Like, she starts to get a little bit unhinged. She gets, but not like cinematic crazy. No, she starts to show severe signs of depression, anxiety, panic attacks even. She's unraveling in a very naturalistic way that makes for some fascinating watching. Meanwhile, Seahawk takes Bo and Swiftwind on a boys' night out. He takes them to a bar, they have a little sing-song, and then he reveals, oh, by the way, because everyone's like at each other's throats recently, I've come up with a plan to fix that. I'm going to have us pretend to be kidnapped, and they'll have to come rescue us and join forces and everything will be fine. Except they actually get kidnapped. And it's just like, you know...
It's like, I don't think this might not be Bill. I don't think this is Bill.
Oh, it's really funny. But it brought something home for me. A lot of this season is discussing the nature of friendship. And that sounds very My Little Pony-ish, but it's actually done in a very compelling way. The friendship between Adora, Bo, and Glimmer. The friendship between Scorpia and Catra. Scorpia thinks Catra's a bad friend. Then there's Seahawk. Turns out Seahawk used to know this person who's kidnapped them and set like 3 of his boats on fire. And it's just like, hey, buddy, I know I did that, but what about friendship? And the guy's just like, yeah, no, I don't care about that. No, I don't care about friendship. And I think the point of the episode is to make us think like, oh, he doesn't have friendship, and that's bad. But here's the thing. it made me realise Seahawk is a bad friend. He doesn't mean to do bad things. He doesn't want to do bad things. He wants to help. But for his constant exaggerations and suicide runs on boats, he costs his friends quite a bit. And even with this whole kidnapping plot, like, he didn't need to do that. And he could have, like, checked with someone to make sure it was a good idea. But no, he just went ahead and did it. And he's not a bad person like Catra, but he is kind of a bad friend. And the episode, I don't think, fully acknowledges that.
Yeah, no, I think the Swiftwind is supposed to be... I keep calling him fucking Swiftwind. Swiftwind's there, and I don't like it.
It's because they've got the same initials.
I think Seahawk... Right.
No, they don't have the same initials, no.
But...
Hawk begins with a W, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a W in it.
Oh, yeah.
To put any narrative weight on him ever, because he wouldn't be able to hold it. He is good at sea shanties, there's a couple of really good songs in this episode, but like, he's really not supposed to be any kind of character we like care about in the narrative sense. He's just a funny guy.
Yeah, and the weird thing about it is his plan unintentionally works. Mr. discovers all of this and leads the charge to rescue them.
Slams the door open. I love how she like slams the door open and she's like, "The boys are in trouble. A seagull told me."
And she rescues them to a rock remix of the song they sung earlier. It's fun to be friend with friends. Fight with friends.
Oh yeah, and he's like, sea shanty, and she's like, "No sea shanties. This is a rock cover."
Oh god! But that leads into the next episode. Hero, this is the Razz episode. Yeah, so it's clear that Razz is like glitching between the past and the present. Her time with Adora and her time with Mara, all centered around her making a pie.
Right. It's unclear. I think it's actually unclear whether or not it's like a dementia thing, or if she really does bounce back and forth between timelines.
I mean,
it says to Mara, "This is the first time, isn't it? It's been so long since it was the first time." When she meets Mara.
Yeah, and that scene has a lot of weight. That moment has a lot of weight. And I think they left it vague intentionally. I think it works vague when it's a bit ambiguous. But so we see a lot of actual flashbacks of Mara, and it turns out she's there, sent by the quote-unquote first ones, to learn about the magic of Etheria, and also something to do with the Heart of Etheria project. Yeah. And Razz eventually leads Adora on a merry chase throughout the woods, like making this pie, whilst also giving like flashbacks about Mara. Eventually leads her to Mara's ship, and where Adora gets to see a message from Mara about, you know, what's going on. Turns out the Heart of Etheria is a super weapon that would turn like the planet into like the Death Star or something, that's been siphoning magic from Etheria and basically just storing it in the core. It's kind of like all those gem shard crystal fusion things from Steven Universe. I don't know if you remember that.
I've never watched Steven Universe.
Oh, you'd love it.
Would I though? I've heard a lot of things about it. I like the music from the movie, and I have fallen in love with that with like the I can't remember her name, but the new characters song.
Spinnerella, Other Friends. That's right. I heard the story.
Spinnerella's a She-Ra character.
No.
Is it Spinal or something?
Something like
Spinel?
that. Spinel, yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's right. I heard the story over and over again. Gee, it's good to finally meet other friends.
Yep.
I prefer the...
Because like someone I follow on YouTube did a cover on it, and it was very good.
I'm sure it was. It's a very good song. They're all good songs. I am a big fan of Independent Together. I like that song. Independent Together. Independent together we can fly. We're not talking about Steven Universe, we're talking about She-Ra. What an amazingly gay thing at the time.
I've not heard that song.
Watch Steven Universe, god damn, it's great. And so that's why Mara took Etheria into Despondos, this pocket dimension. That's why it appears like she died and went a bit crazy, was because actually she was trying to protect the universe and Etheria itself from the Heart of Etheria project. And the last message she gives to Adora is, do not trust Light Hope, because she's programmed by the first ones to activate the heart. This whole thing about balancing the planet, it's just an aim to activate the heart in some sort of glitching out, thinking that the first ones are going to return at any moment and use the super weapon. The problem is, the weapon is, I think the implication is, it's sort of like a glass cannon. Like, it's got incredibly destructive power, but it will, like, destroy the planet. That was the implication that I got.
Yeah, I don't, like, who are the first ones trying to fight against? It seems like the first ones were in this, like, epic war, and they needed this super weapon. But, like, why would Light Hope still 1,000 years later? Is the war still happening? Are the first ones still around?
Maybe it's the Horde Armada, like Horde Prime's Armada.
It would make sense that they were going against the Horde and they didn't succeed and they lost and they died, and Light Hope just picked another She-Ra because that's what she's programmed to do.
Well, that's the thing. You see, it gets revealed a couple of episodes on. We might as well say it here. Turns out, Hordak didn't bring Adora through a portal to this world. No. It was Light Hope. She brought Adora here to fulfill the role of being She-Ra. She's the bad guy behind all of this. But before we get into all that, get to the next episode where we get some real proper dividing lines, a real schism in the rebellion. Because Adora and Bo basically go to the rebellion to say, okay, there's this thing, Heart of Etheria, super weapon, we can't use it. Because it'll destroy the planet, and you just need to like shut it off forever. Glimmer, however, says, hey, this is a thing we could use to defeat the Horde. Let's use it and harness it. Like, if we get...
Well, she says that she wants to take a little bit of it, because it's like, the reason why it's so powerful is because they've been storing all this magic in the Heart of Etheria.
Yeah.
So maybe they can siphon off a little bit of it. She doesn't want to use it. She just wants to crack it open.
Going back to what I said earlier about how I get where they're coming from, like, I get both sides of the argument. Let's not use the super weapon, we don't know what will happen, to let's use the super weapon because we could use it to defeat our enemies who just, like, took over several kingdoms and are at our borders as we speak. Like, this isn't a bullshit argument where there's a clear good person and a clear bad person. However, the lack of communication on both parties' parts makes it difficult to swallow, simply because it feels like a very forced conflict. Not a forced debate, but a very forced conflict and tension between these two parties.
Right, yeah, I don't know, I feel like Glimmer, like, she's definitely been Bo and Adora are. Like, they try. They really, really try with her. And Glimmer just shuts them down. And they're like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Yeah. And the reason the reason why they have their ideas about, because that's when Scorpia comes, right?
Well, Scorpia just, like, turns up in the middle of the room and they just turn around. She just sat there. She's like, hi. She's
sitting on Emily.
And she's just like,
hi,
she walked into the headquarters of the rebellion, being that she's a very important force captain in the Horde. Just like, is there no security in this place?
Yeah, I mean, they tried to make remember the new head guard, like or not the new head guard, but the head guard was kind of a character this season.
Yeah.
Like, they talk to her a lot more and she goes on missions. And I don't think she has a name. But, like...
No,
She's there.
Huh. Yeah. So I don't think she has a name. You're right, but apparently she just walked right by her, and they immediately tie her up and say, "Ha, we got you." She's like, "Yeah, I came here because I need your help in rescuing Entraptor." Turns out she's on Beast Island, and Adora and Bo is just like, "That's excellent. We could use her to stop the Heart of Etheria." But Glimmer's just like, "No, like we'll get her eventually, but we've got like the Horde to deal with, guys." And you know what's going to happen, because that's what Bo and Adora and Glimmer have done many times. They disobey her orders, and they sneak out to rescue Entraptor. And Glimmer is not happy about that. Meanwhile, Scorpia, having been told her whole life that if she ever associated with the princesses, they would immediately reject her, bonds with the princesses and has a sleepover with Froster and Perfumer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she also says like a really important line to when she sees Shadow Weaver. She like explains Catra's behavior. Oh God, now I'm gone. Oh no, she's gonna be so upset. Like she's still worried about Catra.
Yeah, because it's not a complete 180 personality change. It's proper development. It's clever writing. And
all right, yeah, and Adora seems upset. Adora seems a little bit guilty that like everyone is leaving. Like there's some validity to her. Like everyone.
And then we get the next episode. The last two episodes are sort of a two-parter, but really you could call this the first of a three-parter. Really, Beast Island. They arrive on Beast Island, which it turns out is basically a dumping ground for the first ones, like all their tech and stuff. That basically just like takes over all matter on the island, just like organic or inorganic, and it's a really hard place to live. They go searching for Entraptor, but they don't find Entraptor. They find King Micah, voiced by Daniel Day Kim, alive and well. That's where he was the whole time.
Yep, there he is.
Like,
I was not expecting to see him. I thought they were gonna like wait a whole season to try to bring him back, but the fact that like he's here now, I was like, oh my, okay, here we go. We're doing this now, I guess.
I thought they would bring him back this season, considering the cliffhanger from the last season. But so I was kind of waiting for it, but it never crossed my mind that he would be in Beast Island. And turns out he's been surviving there for years. He has had no concept of time, because when you're alone and isolated and don't have like a watch or a calendar, your perception of time does get really screwy. So he thinks it's just like been a few years, but it's not. Oh, and he's happy to find that out. And his interactions with them are so funny, because he's not sure if they're real or not, and that's why he accepts the fact that Swiftwind can talk very, very quickly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm sure he thinks that the hallucination, or not the hallucination last season, but like the world ending last season, where he realized he wasn't dead, like he saw Angelic, he saw Glimmer, was all, he probably thinks that was all just like him messing with himself.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And so he's gone basically like Robin Williams in Jumanji. He's just gone totally native.
Yeah.
And it basically says, okay, there's something you need to know about this place. This thing called the Signal that gets in your head and like mind controls you, and like, I don't know, like Mass Effect indoctrinates you into becoming part of the island. So you've got to really be careful about that. Turns out though, Entraptor is near where the Signal is strong. They try to get to her. They encounter these things called the what are they called? Pukas, or
yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. Like they're like, do you know what they are like? They're like the Porgs from Star Wars, but savage.
Yeah,
I love it. But then Entraptor turns up in a giant mech, the mech she was always destined to be in. And oh god, and so she basically takes them to the source of the signal, where she basically says, "Oh yeah, I've completely discovered all the information about the Heart of Etheria." She fills in all the remaining gaps that are, and Adora's just like, "Hey, so could I just..." It turns out the Heart of Etheria is powered by the rune stones, the thing that gives each individual princess their power. And there's only one that's been left offline, the Black Garnet, in the Fright Zone, which was Scorpia's.
So there's something that I think here is something that I think was probably thought of late in the game because it blatantly contradicts a lot of things in season 1. Like that there are more than 5 people at Princess Prom, and it's supposed to be princesses and their guests only. And I'm pretty sure they call Entrapta a princess in season 1. So there are princesses in this world that aren't like capital P princesses with runestones.
Yeah.
But the only ones that they say they are Frosta, Mermista, Glimmer, Scorpia, and
well, let me put it this way: if you had a choice,
Perfuma.
If you had a choice, when you're assembling your ragtag super team resistance movement, do you get A, Princess Diana, Wonder Woman, or do you get like Princess Anne from here, like the Queen's daughter,
right?
who looks like a scary
but that's
horse?
the thing. Like a lot of princesses that aren't with runestones, they're the ones that we've seen, have powers. Like where does their magic come from? If
how
not,
can Natossa make nets?
The runes. Yes, also both called princesses.
Maybe it's like they have a
Entrapta has where does the magic hair come from?
Maybe it's just like a much low grade power. I don't know. I think they could do with like putting some like quick lore videos up on YouTube or something. I don't know.
No, don't do a Ruby thing. That drove me freaking crazy. The lore videos.
Anyway, and so it turns out that's the only thing left to complete the Heart of Etheria project. And once it's activated, Adora will have no choice but to become part of the weapon, because it turns out She-Ra is like the thing that points and shoots the massive energy Death Star beam through the sword. Holy shit. And she won't be able to resist it. She will literally be unable to stop herself from doing it. And they nearly get absorbed by the island, and trapped in it stays behind because she's obsessed with information. It's the same thing over and over again. That's why she has like no ethics. She's like, oh, something I don't know about. I want to go near it. Meh. But they managed to tempt her away by explaining, hey, we got a spaceship. Woo, spaceship. Oh, it's like that character from the Lego movie. And so they get away from Beast Island with Micah in tow, and this leads us to the last 2 episodes, the 2-parter Destiny. And oh, I know that was part of that episode, Destiny.
That was Beast Island.
No,
I thought they got out during Beast Island.
No,
and then
they got
Glimmer
out during Destiny.
Teleporting to the other runestone was the end of that episode.
No, they got to...
okay, it was confusing.
It is confusing, yeah, sorry. That's why I said it was like a 3-parter rather than a 2-parter.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm sorry, still in the episode Beast Island, while that's going on, Glimmer, very angry that Adora Bow went off without her, goes to the Crystal Castle. Is it called the Crystal Castle or is it the Crystal Palace? I don't care.
I think it's the palace.
Anyway, goes there to speak with Light Hope about the Half-Life 3 project in an effort to activate it. And Light Hope's like, ooh, someone who might be really gullible. I think I can use you. And so in the next episode, it's revealed that Glimmer goes with Scorpia to the Fright Zone to activate the Runestone, the Black Garnet, which gives her fucking red lightning powers.
It's very cool.
It's super cool, and she's still like she enters into a room with like 2 of the bad guys, formerly from the Crimson Waste, and she like zaps one of them, sending them flying, and she looks like really scary and eye-glowy, and then she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's got a kind of a kick for it, huh? And she's still so pure and lovely. I love her. But this whole time, Glimmer's been trying to interrogate Double Trouble, finding out what they know. And it's revealed later on that Double Trouble managed to escape. She goes to Catra, and this is like, oh, by the way, didn't escape. No, they let me go. Because it turns out, you see, they've switched sides and are now on the side of the rebellion. They're still, like, evil, but they're just, like, survivalists, so they're going to go with the winning side. They think that the rebellion is the winning side. And so that's another person who betrays Catra to her face this time. And Double Drop goes all in on the psychological manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's
gets Hordak involved, and it's
oh yeah.
Oh boy.
They reveal to Hordak that Catra lied about sending Entraptor to Beast Island. And Hordak, in a previous episode, when Entraptor gets mentioned, starts to cry a little bit. Or I think it might be this episode. He cries over this betrayal. Cries over Entraptor. Oh my god. And when Catra goes to see him, he's just like, okay, that's great. Killing you with my laser hand. And, oh, it's on. But Catra gets the jump on him. She managed to defeat him. He gets buried under a pile of rubble. And there's a confrontation with Glimmer, who... Oh, was that Glimmer or was that Double Trouble in disguise? Yeah, so that's all happening. Catra's basically at her lowest moment yet again, despite having just beaten Hordak. She kicked his ass, but it didn't mean anything because everyone leaves her. And... However, the Black Garnet has been activated, which means Light Hope can activate the Heart of Etheria project. Adora goes to try and stop her, but things go a bit wibbly. The princesses all over the land are just like fighting people, like fighting the Horde. It's going really well because they get, once the Black Garnet comes online, they get like a surge in power. It's like, oh, they get like supercharged. But then the energy starts getting sucked out of them by the Heart of Etheria project, and it's powering She-Ra in a bid to turn her into the super weapon. And Adora tries to break free of the control and tries to get through to Light Hope that this is wrong, but Light Hope keeps on switching between like a nicer version of herself and the evil version of herself, and it's a very tense moment, and it culminates in Adora breaking the sword. She shatters the sword that made her She-Ra, that gives her all her powers. Light Hope becomes good again, thanks her, and just sort of blinks out of existence.
Yeah, I think she's gone. I think that that's the end of Light Hope.
But not before she takes them out of the pocket dimension, out of Despondos, into the rest of the universe. Stars in the sky. Oh, not just stars. Fucking Horde Prime's fleet. Oh no. And he sends out a tractor beam that takes Hordak, Glimmer, and Catra, despite Bo's attempts to stop them. And brings them up onto this ship. And Horde Prime is like, hey Hordak, how you been? And Hordak's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. I've been conquering this whole planet in your name. And Horde Prime's like, have you, or have you just been like conquering it in your own name? And despite the fact that he clearly has been doing it for his like big clone brother the whole time, he basically accuses him of not doing it for him through like some mind reading thing. And then he like jabs him with like some tech dreadlocks that he's got. Like Horde Prime, he's got like tech dreadlocks and like 4 eyes, but like 2 of the eyes are just on one side above one. It's weird. And he like takes over Hordak's body, reconditions him like some sort of mind control. It's fucking creepy, and is about to like kill Glimmer or something. I don't know, something creepy. But Catra, who's been taken along with all of this, pops up and says, hey, so you don't want to do that because she's part of a big super weapon called the Heart of Etheria project that could like be used to destroy your enemies. And Horde Prime's like, I might have some use for that. And that's when the season ends. Yep. Glimmer is captive of Horde Prime. Hordak's gone. Cat is working with Horde Prime now. She-Ra is gone. The sword's gone. And the princesses are just sort of... The Horde has been decimated by the princesses thanks to their surge in power. But don't know where they stand now. And Double Trouble switched sides. And it's the darkest moment. Holy shit.
Right. I don't think Double Trouble switched sides. Double Trouble is always just
on their
doing
side.
Their own thing. Yeah, they're on their own side.
They have temporarily allied themselves with the Resistance because they think they're the winning side.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean... Oh, God, I was just like, okay, so when's the next episode? Oh, there's no more episodes. Oh, that's it. That's the cliffhanger. Oh, no. Oh, God. That's what I've basically done this whole thing, just make that croaky, weird noise. Just like,
Yep.
This whole season's just been making that noise. And, dear God, what a finale.
Yeah, this is a full season. This is what it's supposed, like, this is what a full season feels like, and not a half season.
It's, and you know what? I'll be honest. I binged this. I went through 13 episodes in one go. And
right. Yeah.
You can do that. You can do that. It's like only half an hour, and it's it was really easy for me to get into. Really easy for me to pick up. And it's
I think
the same
the first
quality.
Few episodes were a little bit slow for me, but I think like it picked up really quickly.
Well, I think that's because they had to establish the new normal. Glimmer is queen
right.
now, and the different chapters gone, the different relationship between Catra and Hordak, plus the addition of Double Trouble. So they had to like say, okay, this is how things are going to be going on from now on. But after that, they hit their stride. I love it. And you know, there are some problems that we mentioned, but they're kind of inconsequential. But I will say the conflict, it did get a bit annoying. The constant bickering eventually wore me down. It wasn't fun. I get why it was there. It had a good reason to be in there. It made sense for the story, but the way they went about it was just a bit too grating for me.
Right.
I
don't think it really annoyed me that much, mostly because like Adora getting into fights with people is just like par for the course for this show, like getting into screaming matches. So
yeah, but it was all the time, you know. They amped it up a bit. But aside from that, yeah, it's great. All the returning voice actors are great. Amy Carrero, Karen Fukuhara, AJ Michalka, Marcus Scribner. They're all great. No Angela this season, but everyone else is back. Big roles, small roles. It's all great. We got more Gene Davis.
I think Angela could come back next season, because now we're no longer in Despondos, right? So it's like the portal. We can open a portal now, and she can come back.
I don't know. I think that's part of the reason why they brought Micah back.
That's true. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a while. If they do bring back Angela, it's going to be a bit. I don't think they're going to do it immediately because that would feel too cheap.
I hope they don't bring her back ever. Not because I dislike the character, but because I think that would make her sacrifice a bit less meaningful, you know? And if she's dead, like, that's some consequences right there. And this is something that I think that show should aspire to. They've got Micah, who could fill some kind of role. Well, I love Mike. I love Daniel Day Kim as Micah because it's a very comedic role, but it's also a very serious role. He's very good at that. And it'd be interesting to see. And also the thing is, he didn't get a reunion with Glimmer. They just missed each other.
Yeah, he just left.
And now she's been held by Horde Prime. So I want to see that reunion.
Yep. Yeah, me too. I'm excited for that. But I mean, it's going to be a while because now Glimmer's kidnapped.
God, yeah. And the series so far has an approval rating of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's based on some reviews. It's still kind of early days. The previous season got 100% approval rating. Second season, 85% approval rating. The first season, 100%. So this is clearly a show that people like. This is going from strength to strength to strength. So we better get season 5.
I think part of it is that the people who are watching it and reviewing it are people that I think are kind of predisposed to liking it. It's people like
Us.
you're not gonna get your like person that usually does the horror movie reviews on this. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be someone who does, kids television.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It is. I agree. It is a bit echo chambery, but I don't. I don't think that makes it any less like. Similar people who watch this also watch the first season of Dragon Prince and didn't like that very much. I mean, you watched Dragon Prince?
no.
I tried. I fucking tried. It's an alright story with alright characters in the first 3 episodes I watched, but the animation, dear God, it's so. Apparently they fixed it in later episodes, later seasons. It's really missing frames of animation-y, kind of really jerky animation, and
Oh no.
it's nauseating to watch. It really is. It's so frustrating. It never lets you forget how janky it is. Not the case with She-Ra, where the animation is excellent.
Yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
scene,
They're,
scene where the
I think
Heart
it's
of
gotten
Etheria
better
scene.
because they've gotten more.
The Heart of Etheria.
They've gotten more things. Yeah.
Where with all the colors and the energy flowing everywhere is super. Well, She-Ra starts glowing. She gets a glow up. She gets all glowy, sparkly in this. Oh, also something we forgot to mention in the Heroes episode with Razz, we saw a flashback to Mara transforming into She-Ra, and
Yes. She has a different transformation.
yeah, she gets her own little Sailor Moon transformation sequence. It's fucking amazing.
Oh, it really is. I love and I don't think you notice it until she's wearing all white that she's dark skinned. That she's
Really?
she's not white. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely did notice that. I didn't notice it in previous seasons where she was a hologram and she was one solid
That's
color.
true. Yeah, it's harder to tell when she's a hologram. I thought she was blonde until they showed her last season.
I knew that she was sort of dark haired or something, but I wasn't quite sure one way or the other. But I definitely noticed that she had darker skin tones before she put on white. That wasn't something I missed.
No, I think it was something
I mean,
that it totally didn't faze me that until she was so contrasted because once we have a direct comparison between her and Adora, it's way more obvious.
yes.
Because before it's just she's wearing her own clothes, she has her own hair. It's like she's clearly not anywhere close to Adora. She doesn't look like Adora. And now seeing her as She-Ra, we can see where She-Ra stays the same and where She-Ra differentiates.
And another new thing we get this season is we get a new intro. It's basically the same, but with some different, slightly different art. Like the art of the villains, we see a bit more of a Hall Prime and
right. I think the villain screens and the hero screens are different, but the beginning of it is the same.
Yes, even though they put
and
Flutterina in there.
Double Trouble, yeah, Flutterina's in the hero one and Double Trouble's in the villain one, which I think was really smart.
Yeah, and oh god, I mean, this is the 4th time we've done this, Capers. It's more of the same, but still great. It's still really, really good.
It is.
And it's going from it's furthering the character development. It's not stalling. It's not doing any sort of bullshit. It's not rushing. If anything, it's taking its time even further. They listened to the fans who wanted more and they gave them more, but they kept the same level of quality. And if that means we have to wait slightly longer in between seasons, well, I'm fine with that. I mean, we got season 3 earlier this year.
I saw on Twitter 2 or 3 days ago. It's the 1st anniversary of She-Ra, and it's yo, you fucking kidding me? This show only started last year.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. So we did this November last. Well, no, they aired November last year. I think I watched it in December last year over the Christmas break, just because I was scrolling Netflix. Found this. Oh, fine, I'll give that a shot. Oh, what is this Technicolor loveliness? And then a 2nd season came out on April this year. 3rd season August this year, and now November this year. So that's 3 seasons. In
the single year.
That's
crazy.
Of a total of 26 episodes. That's something. And to do that and keep the same level of quality, not just within the animation but also within the the story and the characters is nothing short of amazing. It shows just how dedicated the crew is to this show, and it really works. Like there's like the background characters, like in big crowd scenes, are like less detailed than the foreground characters. That's like the only bit of like decrease in animation.
Well, there's like, even when they're doing like crowd shots, or like shots where they're like going up, like where they're trying to establish like an area, so they'll show a few background characters. Those people are incredibly cool in detail. There's a lot of background characters that like the fandom has like latched onto and created these whole worlds for, because they're just really cool designs.
I want to know more about that lady Huntara flirted with in the previous season.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I think there's someone in the Smuggler's Den that I saw that like people were really interested in. There's like a woman with like, it looked like she was wearing a binder or something, and she had like really short hair, and she was really buff. And it was like, okay, this is someone that Twitter's gonna love. And they just are literally shown for like one frame.
I mean, I think that's more of an indication of the mindset of the fans than the showrunners, but all the same, it's great. And honestly, beyond that, there's not really much more we can talk about, except for the fact that better fucking get another season. If that's what it takes to just tie it up, that's fine. But I mean, I'll take. I don't think
Netflix really, because Netflix, like, you know, destroys their live action shows.
Yeah.
It's a lot more rare that they like cancel an animated show. I think Tuca and Birdie were like the first ones that it was like that they canceled so early.
That's already canceled?
They canceled after one season and renewed Big Mouth for 5 more.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh yeah, it's awful.
I can't. I mean, I didn't watch like Toucan and Birdie, whatever it's called, but
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like someone who already had their foot in the door. It was the character designer for BoJack Netflix. She was the character designer on BoJack Horseman. Like she already had a foot in the door. She already had all these connections at Netflix, and she still couldn't get a second season.
Shit. I mean, what? Just like, are they gonna run out of like space on their servers? Just like what? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I guess it just didn't have enough viewership, which I think is kind of horseshit. Like based on the response after like it got canceled, it was a really big blowback. Maybe it was too expensive to do that and BoJack. Though there was a rumor that it's because the BoJack crew asked for more money after the last season, or for the last season. Okay, I mean, I don't watch BoJack anymore. I sort of drifted away from it, but this is the thing that I know there's like the first half of the last season is up, and I'm scared to watch it because whenever I do, I love that show, but I watch it too quickly, and then I get into a massive depressive state afterwards. Yeah. Oh, life is pain, Secretariat. Why? But this is the thing. Yeah. This is what I'm wondering. Is the same thing that's going on with Netflix right now, like supposed diminished viewership and cancelling of shows, and just sort of floundering, not really know what it's doing, gonna happen to Disney Plus as well? I think Disney's gonna have because they have a lot of things that they're throwing up. Like there's a lot of spaghetti they're throwing at the wall, and I don't think all of it's gonna stick. I think maybe The Mandalorian will stick, but I think there's some TV shows that are gonna tank immediately. Oh, they've already discussing the possibility of turning it into a movie because The Mandalorian. Yeah, because. The response has been great for The Mandalorian, but also just because like they're desperate for movies, Star Wars movies that people actually want to see. Right, they had to stop. They stopped they put a halt on all of their stories, Star Wars story movies, because of the response to Solo. Yeah, we're really worried that people are getting Star Wars fatigue. Motherfucker, we've watched like 50 Marvel movies in the past 10 years. We don't have Star Wars fatigue. We have bad Star Wars fatigue. You're right. And like, really the only like Star Wars that has super bugged me are these stories movies. It's like, I don't... Like, Rogue One was okay. Solo, Solo's not good. I mean, I think it's fine, but I understand why people don't like it. And let's be honest, a Star Wars movie should not be fine. It should not be fine. It should be good, or the very least, or hopefully, great. And I mean, okay, there's this like weird dichotomy I think people have with Star Wars, is that they think it needs to be this like really fantastic,
Like, it always is the pinnacle of greatness in cinema, and it always has been. And, like, Mark Hamill didn't learn how to act until this, like, halfway through episode 4 or episode 5. Like, he
well, okay. He picked it up during the end of the Death Star run.
New Hope.
Like, yeah. I love Star Wars. I love the original trilogy. I'm not blind to its faults and its shortcomings. There are many. The episode 4, A New Hope, was basically saved in post-production. It was a garbage movie until they actually got a good editor. So I understand that, and yeah, maybe we do hold it to slightly too big standards. I think that's a failing of the fandom. There is a lot of toxicity going on right now, but also, I don't think. No one sets out to make a bad movie, but I really think Disney, and I do mean Disney, not Lucasfilm, needs a big kick up the arse. This is why I hope The Mandalorian does well, because it shows that you can do Star Wars right, and you can do Star Wars well if you get the right people involved and have a bit of goddamn creative liberty, and it's not constantly hampered by the mouse leaning over the shoulders of the people making it. Because Lucasfilm did that enough already, and they created a franchise with tons of great stories. Forget about the fucking movies. There have been a ton of brilliant TV shows, graphic novels, video games that really expand upon the world and have characters that people like in their own right. Fucking Kyle Katarn, everyone? Lamara Jade, anyone? Hello? But we were talking about She-Ra at some point. What happened? This is why you can't mention Star Wars anymore, because that just takes over everything. Let's just... Okay, so we talked about Disney Plus, we talked about She-Ra. Give us a season 5. If there's any doubt that there might be a season 5, let's put that to bed and just give us a season 5, because we need it, because it's great and awesome, and it makes me feel strong inside.
Yeah, it definitely deserves another season.
Yeah. Well, when that happens, we will review it, won't we, Alex?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for joining me, Alex, doing this today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops! If you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like our previous 3 episodes about She-Ra, like any one of them. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at podcapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe comment on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ap2hwc, or email us at podcapers@ap2hwc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine, and thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. Cue the music!